Hi there, welcome back to the Havilland Aircraft Museum. I'm Alistair, the curator. Now, taking you back to the 1930s, everybody was playing crazy in the 1930s. People wanted to learn to fly, they wanted to go out and have fun in airplanes, they wanted to do all sorts of silly things. They wanted to have air races. That was another big popular thing in the 1930s. And there was a rich Australian called Sir Macrobertson Robertson who commissioned a prize and a trophy for an air race that was going to take place between Mildenhall in Suffolk all the way down to Melbourne in Australia. The race would take place over several legs, over 3 or 4 or 5 days, something like that. The fastest with overnight stops, and the fastest aggregate time would win the race. Now, the board of de Havilland Aircraft decided that it would be a crying shame if the winner of this race wasn't a British aircraft. Jolly well better be a de Havilland aircraft to boot. So Geoffrey de Havilland set his designers to the task, and they came up with the design of a racing aeroplane which they would sell to any competitor that wanted to buy one for the price of £5,000. Now, it cost them £50,000 to design produce this aeroplane, but they were selling them to quite a loss to the company. They were so desperate to have a horse in the race here. And the aircraft itself was of a very radical design, because in those days, we've maybe talked about the Tiger Moth already, which were, a metal frame with fabric covering and fabric covered wings and so forth. That's all great, but it won't win you an air race all the way to Australia. They had to come up with something different. So what they came up with was this. It is a composite of plywood and balsa wood. It's a layer of balsa wood down the middle with a layer of plywood on each side. Now that's basically how the fuselage of our aeroplane is built. This is the aircraft in question, the DH.88 Comet Racer. Now the fuselage is built up in 2 halves on a mould. And you put the wood down on the mould first of all, plywood first, layer of blue, balsa wood over the top, let it cure, plywood for the final coat over the top. Take the 2 halves off the moulds, right half and left half, glue them together just like a gigantic model aeroplane. The wing is made of a laminate of wood in very fine strips, meeting each other, bonded across at right angles, and that gives the wing a huge amount of strength, but for a very light weight. The wing is bonded underneath the fuselage. It doesn't go in one side and out the other. The fuselage sits on top of the wings, and then you've got 2 nice big powerful engines. I should say that our particular example here is a replica. It was built for a film of the air race in Australia some time ago, so this, obviously it's minus its wings here for space considerations, but it still gives you a good idea of the shape of the aircraft. So that was the construction of it, 2 nice big powerful engines, and they sold 3. They sold 1 to Amy Johnson and her husband Jim Mollinson. They sold 1 to a motor racing driver in the Midlands, and they sold 1 to the man who was the proprietor of the Grosvenor House Hotel in London, and he painted his aeroplane red and called it Grosvenor House, and it was that aeroplane which actually won the race and scooped the prize and scooped the Macrobertson Trophy as well. So that really inspired de Havilland to go on and exploit this construction technique of the plywood balsa wood structure for the use in other airplanes, and it led, as we shall see, to the most famous plywood and balsa wood airplane of them all, of course, which is the de Havilland 98 Mosquito, but that's for another time. Meanwhile, hope you like this one. I love the shape of this one, I have to say. I think it's got a real sort of 1930s Art Deco feel to it. It's a gorgeous shape. Hope you like it. Stay tuned, stay well, stay in touch. See you again soon.